All right, everybody, get ready because today we're going deep into King Kong.
We are talking the 2005 Peter Jackson epic. This is going to be good.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be huge, especially with this incredible analysis you send over. I mean, wow.
I know, right? It's in Spanish, but it
Yeah.
looks at King Kong not just as like a monster movie,
Yeah.
right? But it digs into the history, the emotions, especially when it comes to Kong himself.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. And I think we can unearth some really interesting stuff today.
Absolutely. Okay, so our source, it starts in 1930s New York City, painting a pretty bleak picture, huh?
Yeah, no sunshine and rainbows here. This is the Depression era, full on. And the film really captures that feeling of desperation.
Yeah.
Like people were just desperate for anything better. Bread lines, clothes factories. It was a tough time. And the filmmakers, they really weren't afraid to show that.
And it's against that backdrop that we meet our main players, right? You've got Carl Denham.
Oh yeah, played by the one and only Jack Black.
Of course, who else? With that, Denham's this ambitious director, maybe even a little reckless, but he wants to make a splash no matter the cost.
And you can feel that drive, can't you? That ambition just rolls off of him.
Totally. Then there's Anne Darrow, played by Naomi Watts.
Wonderful actress.
She's trying to make it as an actress in this really unforgiving city, and when this opportunity with Denham lands in her lap, well, let's just say she doesn't think twice.
And why would she? She's got nothing to lose. Little does she know she's about to trade in the bright lights of Broadway for, well, a prehistoric jungle.
Talk about a change of scenery, right?
Oh.
And this is where I thought our source got really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It connects that desperation that Anne and Denham are feeling to Kong himself.
Really?
Yeah, the source is saying that Kong, stuck on his island, he's yearning for connection, just like they are.
Wow. That is fascinating.
Right. So we've got these characters each wanting more from their lives, running from a world that's falling apart, and that leads them all to Skull Island.
Oh, and what a place it is. Get ready, because things are about to get wild.
Oh, I can't wait. This is Peter Jackson at his best. I mean, visually stunning, creative creatures, and downright terrifying.
The source even mentioned that the visuals hold up so well, even all these years later.
They really do, especially that stampede scene. Oh my gosh, the chaos.
Pure chaos. And those creatures. It's both beautiful and terrifying at the same time.
Exactly. And it's a good reminder that our explorers are really in over their heads. Like, one wrong step and it's over.
Absolutely. But isn't that part of what draws us to this kind of story, that brush with the unknown?
It makes you wonder, though, why would anyone run from one desperate situation straight into another?
Well, that's the thing about Skull Island and King Kong in general, isn't it? It's a place of extremes. And those extremes, they force our characters and us as the viewers to face the unknown head-on, whether we like it or not.
And speaking of things that go bump in the night, we have to talk about Kong. He is not just some mindless monster here.
No, not at all.
He's portrayed with such depth, such emotion. What do you think about that?
That's what makes this movie more than just your average monster flick. You see this range of emotions in Kong, from rage to curiosity to even, I think, tenderness at times. And that's what makes it so compelling.
It does, and it makes that bond he forms with Anne all the more powerful. I mean, this isn't your typical Beauty and the Beast situation. There's real emotion there, don't you think?
I completely agree. And,
Yeah.
a lot of that is thanks to Andy Serkis and the groundbreaking motion capture they used.
Yeah, amazing work.
Even though Kong is CGI, you feel every emotion in his movements, his eyes. Serkis brought such a realness to Kong, and that's what makes you connect with him, even though he's, what, a 20-foot gorilla?
It's true. You really do feel for him, especially when he's fighting off those Vistatosaurus rexes to protect Anne. Now, that's a protector. That's not just animal instinct. It feels different. Like there's a sense of loyalty and care there that feels almost human.
Exactly. And the source pointed out that this protective instinct makes his capture, being taken back to New York, all the more heartbreaking.
Oh, for sure.
Because you realize he's being dragged from the only world he's ever known, a world where he was king, and thrown into this concrete jungle where he doesn't belong.
It's like they captured a wild animal, a force of nature, stuck it in a cage, and expect it to perform on command. What could go wrong, right? Talk about a recipe for disaster. I mean, it's no surprise where this is all headed.
Yeah, we all know the ending, but somehow
It gets you every time.
it really does. Even knowing what's coming, you're still right there with Kong on top of the Empire State Building, feeling all the things.
It's true. Such a powerful scene. And our source had some really interesting takes on the symbolism behind it.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Well, it's not just a giant ape on a skyscraper, right? It's about so much more. It's that conflict between the natural world and the world, We've built our ambition to control things that maybe shouldn't be controlled.
And you really feel that, don't you? The weight of all that on Kong's shoulders.
Totally. And don't forget about Anne. The way Kong looks at her in that moment just breaks your heart. You can tell he's not just trying to escape those planes. He's trying to protect her, even if he can't fully grasp the danger himself.
Right, like that protective instinct is still there even in this completely alien world.
Exactly. Which actually brings up another point from the source. They were saying how Jackson really makes you connect with Kong on a human level in a way that most monster movies don't even attempt.
And that's what makes this movie so special. It's not just about the spectacle. It's about those emotions, those human connections.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with Andy Serkis's performance as Kong.
Oh, absolutely. He brought so much to the role.
Right. Even though Kong is CGI, you feel every ounce of that emotion that Serkis poured into it. It's incredible.
It really is. It's like those special effects, they fade into the background and
Yeah.
you're just left with this really powerful story and the emotions it evokes.
Exactly. And speaking of the story, our source made a really interesting point about how King Kong, this version, at least it manages to balance these cutting-edge visuals with a story that feels timeless.
It's true. I mean, how many times has the King Kong story been told now? And yet this one really resonates.
It's because it taps into these universal themes, right? The struggles we all face as humans, the desire for something more, the danger of trying to control the things we don't understand.
It makes you think, why are we so drawn to these larger-than-life creatures, these forces of nature, even when they represent danger to us?
It's a good question. And I think King Kong, it asks us to consider what happens when that fascination crosses a line, when we go from wonder to wanting to exploit something for our own gain.
Which, again, circles back to those consequences we were talking about before.
It all comes full circle, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
And I think that's the mark of a truly great film. When it stays with you long after the credits roll, makes you see the world a little differently.
100%. King Kong, it's more than just a monster movie. It's a story about us, about the choices we make and the impact those choices have on the world around us.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Powerful stuff. And it really makes you think about, maybe the biggest monsters aren't the ones we see on screen.
It's true. It's like those cautionary tales, but on a massive scale.
Right. Like it makes you wonder about the choices we make and the impact they have, not just on us, but on everything around us.
100%. And, thinking about it, it's kind of amazing what we've managed to uncover today.
It is, from a movie about a giant gorilla. We really went deep.
We did. We went deep into King Kong, unearthed some hidden gems, and I think our listener is going to walk away with a whole new appreciation for this film. I think so, too. Because it's more than just special effects and giant monsters. It's a story with real heart and something to say about, well, about us.
It makes you think about how we treat the world around us, our relationship with nature, all those big, important questions.
And maybe even challenges us to look inward a bit. Confront that King Kong within ourselves.
Ooh, I like that. Those desires and ambitions, they can be exciting, but also dangerous if we're not careful.
Exactly. It's a balancing act, right?
Always.
So to our listener out there, remember that the next time you watch King Kong or any film that grabs your attention, look beyond the surface. Ask yourself why this story resonates with you. What does it say about us as humans? I think you'll be surprised by what you discover.